Hi, how are you?
I haven't seen you girls in forever.
It's been so long.
A lot has changed for both of us, I feel.
Like you guys are kicking ass. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I feel like when we talked last, you guys were kind of at the early stages of this whole thing.
We were,
and now like a worldwide phenomenon.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of you.
Thank you. We're proud of you.
Yeah.
goes both ways. You, I think, were one of our first guests. I would.
Yeah,
it was very early on for radio. I think you were promoting Set It Up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, weirdly, the movie that is coming out in a week and a half, I was shooting Set It Up when I drove to Massachusetts to get the rights to this book.
Wow. It's a long time coming.
This is taking a damn long time to put together. But yeah, it's crazy because you guys have gone on a whole thing since then. So
thank you. Well, let's start. We can talk about it during the interview. All right, everyone, we are here with a very special guest. We are joined by the lovely Glen Powell, who actually has been on our show before. For those new listeners out there, maybe they didn't catch it very early in the beginning. We were just catching up. Glen was one of our first guests in those early radio days, and now he's back. So welcome back. We're so excited to catch up.
Pumped to be here.
Yeah, we were in an old radio studio in our old office. Mm-hmm. New office, new studio, moving on.
It looks very, very different. Yeah, you guys got a professional came in and decorated this one when I think we were at a conference table.
Yes.
Yep.
And, by the way, my dad, coming into the Barstool offices, my dad, the swag that you guys gave him, he reps it almost every day. All of his so it's
I love
it was
that.
a trip that paid off for the
We're
whole
gonna
family.
have to get him some new stuff now.
Yeah, definitely. We'll send some new gear for him. But we're so excited to have you back. We're here to talk about Devotion. It's out November 23rd. It looks phenomenal. You were just telling us a little bit about the journey you've been on to make this movie and everything that's happened. It's been years now. So how are you feeling that we're so close to the release date?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I think it's been 5 years or something. Like when I shot Set It Up in New York, on Memorial Day when I was shooting Set It Up with Zoe Deutsch in New York, I took the weekend to go meet with the Hudner family in Concord, Massachusetts, to basically get the life rights to Tom Hudner and get the rights to the book. And so that was years ago. That was the beginning of y'all's show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it just feels like a lifetime ago, but these things take a long time to put together. And now this is a big movie that the world's going to get to see, but it kind of just started off with a handshake in Massachusetts a long time ago. But yeah, it's a really special movie that, it's just, after making Top Gun, and kind of figuring out how to make a war epic in a new and fresh way. This one's a different era with different characters, but it's a totally different animal, but it's really good. I'm really proud of it.
Which one did you know you were making first? Because obviously these are coming out close enough where it's he's a pilot. He's a pilot.
Yeah.
He's Glen is officially a pilot now.
It's happening.
So which, you're talking about way 2017. Which movie did you know you were definitely making first?
Yeah, so Devotion had a script. We had a script and basically financing before Top Gun, and I basically had to ask Tom Cruise, if I could do both. I remember the moment. I remember feeling kind of oh God, I hope he says yes, because I wanted to do both, and I had to ask the producers of Devotion that they'd spent money and developed this whole thing for me, and then Cruise, who was basically saying, "Hey, I want you to do Top Gun." And the fact that I got to do both, obviously, it's very confusing for the world that they're like, "Hey, this guy can't stay out of a plane." But Devotion, that journey actually started before Top Gun.
Right, and you're an executive producer for Devotion, and it seems like you've had your hands on this the entire making of the film. What's that been like to just be, because I'm sure for Top Gun, you have your part, but there's all these other people working on it. But for Devotion, you seem to have been there right from the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. I had to find the book, find the producers, director, stars, assemble all these different airplanes from around the world from different eras to, build a carrier in the middle of Georgia. It's just like there was a lot that went into this one, and I definitely had my hands on this one in a different way. And it's been really satisfying, but also getting the families together. That's the other thing is like, you have to, when you make a movie about real people, you have like real pressure from two sides. And they were all very, the Brown family wants to do Jesse's story correctly, and the Hudner family wants to do his story correctly, and really making sure that everybody feels like it's accurate and honoring of both men is very interesting. But I don't think I've ever made anything with such heart before, that I felt such pressure going into a process. Like I was actually, my girlfriend was like, "Are you always this stressed out while making a movie?" And I was like, "No, I'm not usually this stressed out. Like I always care, but on this one, I felt like I was having to give like the obituary of both of these men in front of the whole world. You know what I mean? It was just like a different level of pressure, and also to pull off putting real actors in these planes. We did it on Top Gun with these F-18s, but to put actors in 70-year-old airplanes that are not run by the Navy but are run by collectors. Like there's a helicopter we fly in this movie that is so old that we had to get a piece from the Smithsonian.
Wow.
So it's just it's a different, when you're flying these old planes aggressively, like it just feels like things can go a little more wrong than it did on Top Gun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. And
it's like that's a scary thought.
That is, and I think as viewers, you watch the war movies and you think like, how are they doing this? Like, how are these planes even like in the air? It's just it's crazy. And I know you said you wanted to do the families justice, and I think that so many war movies, it's such a great story because you don't necessarily always know the stories of these people, but they have such incredible stories. And you watch the movie and you think, oh my God, how did more people not talk about this? And how is this not a bigger recognized thing? So I think Devotion is going to be one of those that makes people look up these guys' stories and go back and read the books and understand what was going on. But you guys have Jonathan Majors in this role of Jesse Brown, and he's fantastic. Everybody is raving about how amazing the two of you are in this movie. Jonathan told a story on Kimmel of you pitching him the movie in a Russian-Turkish bathhouse in the nude, completely naked. What is your side of that story?
My side of the story. It was really interesting because my one of the producers hit me up and said, because I was the one who was like, okay, this is the guy. Like, let's go after Majors for this. Because it's a hard role to pull off, and you need someone who's just like ready to pull it all in, to pull this thing off and make it different. So I was like, let's go after Majors, and he's like, okay, he's in New York. I was like, cool, I'll fly to New York. I'll go meet with him. And they go, he's insisting on meeting at a Russian bathhouse. And I was like, all right, cool. And they were like, is that cool with you? I was like, yeah, it's totally fine. And I was like, yeah, I love to sweat, whatever. But it was really interesting because within about 30 seconds of like, oh, hey, what's up, man? Glenn, cool. Like, all right, here's your key, here's your locker. I was literally like, I guess we're doing this. And so it was, I guess we saw each other naked within like a minute of meeting each other, which is cool.
Immediately close.
Maybe that helped the chemistry for you guys on screen.
You felt comfortable.
Sure does. Friendships are built on trust.
Yep.
Honesty. And what's more honest than a couple buddies naked in a bathhouse talking moves,
just talking shop.
Eye contact.
Yeah. All about eye contact. Were you guys in a bath when the conversation?
It's like the saunas.
No, because because saunas, but they have baths. Like
they do.
I've been to a bathhouse before. They do have the pools, the tubs. Maybe bath is the wrong word.
I don't want to mess up your fantasy here or clarify too much, but we were not in a bathtub. It's like a two men in a bathtub talking movies is a very different experience. I don't know what that movie is, but the no, it's like one of those really intense sauna, sweat, cold plunge sort of situations.
Yeah, the pools, the cold plunge pools. Yeah.
How
he's still confused what I'm talking about.
No, you know. What
Nope.
That's what everybody does these days. Like everybody, it's supposed to be very good for you. You sit in the sauna, you go in the ice bath.
A lot of the
you go
guys
back
here
to the sauna.
like go to the bathhouse together.
Yeah.
I
think it's the same one.
It must be.
There's one really well-known one downtown. I think that people go to. That's my guess.
Mm-hmm. He's acting like he's not familiar with
we won't know. Anyway, as far as casting goes, so you're reaching out to Jonathan. You guys want him to be in this movie. How involved were you in the other characters? Because from social media and whatnot, it seems like you guys had a pretty good kind of bro squad going on of all the guys together.
The bromance quotient in this movie was unbelievable because because Joe Jonas, I've known Joe for forever. Spencer Neville, Nick Hargrove, Darren Kagasoff, these guys, Thomas Sadowski. We just had a damn good time down there making this movie. So also during COVID, it's like the height of COVID. So it's like you're in a bubble. Like all you can do is make a movie and kind of play Mafia. Joe and Sophie would host Mafia nights at their house. We'd play golf with all the boys. Thomas's wife is Amanda Seyfried, so she was down there. We had a solid
crew
down there in Savannah, Georgia. But really, the social chair was Joe Jonas. I mean, he kept everybody together, and he likes to have a good time. Joe's a wild man.
Joe and Sophie just seem so cool.
They're the best. I mean, and it's like also they're just one of a kind. They're like the most fun people that create experiences everywhere. Like, and they're rowdy. Like that's the other thing is like they're the most fun. Like I've been friends with Nick for a long time. Nick and Pri are different. They're like they also host. They also throw parties, but like Joe and Sophie are like the rowdy turn up to 11 version for sure.
They I just spent 3 nights in Vegas at all the Jonas Brothers shows. So as a fan, it does seem that way. Sophie was there Thursday night, and Priyanka was there Friday and Saturday. We've had some drinks with Priyanka before.
Yeah, we've had some good times.
She definitely likes to have fun too.
Pri's fun too.
Yeah,
Pri's
she was like, "Let's do tequila shots." We were like, "Yep, we're in."
Yeah, you got like those boys really married so well.
They did
because their partners just bring out the best in them, and like just watching Joe is always fun, but when he gets around Sophie, he's even more fun, which is such a great quality. And Nick's the same way with Pri. It's like I already love those boys, but when they get around their significant others, it's nice when a guy's like not pretending like they get around their significant other and they're like, oh, you're like, okay, I guess we're going to pretend like they're not a fun time. It's like they bring out the best in each other. So I love that whole crew.
That is nice. So after you guys, you all got so close filming and you wrap up, bubble's over, got a group chat. How's everyone staying in touch? Now you get to do promo together. You get to see everybody again or no in-person promo?
No, group chat is very active.
Okay, good.
Joe... The funniest thing is Joe with a couple of the boys is first off, we always go on these golfing trips together. All those boys everybody's golfers. So we go out to Scottsdale and play here in LA. But the funny part is that Darren Kagasoff in the movie, he went on a trip with Joe. Joe's like, hey man, do you want to come I'm playing a concert, I think in Seattle or something like that. You want to go play some golf and I'll do the concert and we'll fly back. He went on this plane with Joe and didn't come back for like a month. He was on the tour with the Jonas Brothers for I was like, dude, are you still with them? So all Darren was doing for like a month was just hanging out with the Joe Bros and enjoying
like
the
you.
tour life.
That is. Hey, look, I understand. I was supposed
when
to
they went on tour and you were basically on tour with them.
I was supposed to come home from Vegas on Saturday in the afternoon. I said, I can't leave yet. I've stayed for another show, so me and Darren, you can't leave the shows.
They just wrap you in.
They really do. They really do. But this movie I have a special place in my heart too, I think, for war movies, just because it's something that my dad and I have always connected on. He loves them. So funny enough, Nick Jonas is in Midway, which is one that he loves. And we always watch them together. So he's been so excited about this one. He has sent me the trailers and whatnot. But how much, like, you're making a movie like this, the set, I'm so fascinated with the procedures of how you make these movies. How many people do you have to make sure that you're getting these aircraft carriers, these planes, everything to look so real?
It's hundreds of people. This is a big, but I mean, the fact that we made this movie basically independently, and it's like bigger than any studio movie ever. I mean, it's a Sony movie now, but we made this movie. We took a real big gamble making this movie. And I went to South Korea and went to some of the battlefields where we went and started meeting with a lot of these experts on the Korean War and brought them into this process to make sure that we're building these airplanes correctly, and the battlefields that were, the Marines on the ground where it's all frozen and all that stuff, like that's accurate. So we brought in every expert on the Korean War from around the world to make sure everything was accurate from head to toe. It takes to make a movie of this size. It's like also just to turn anything into 1950s anything. Yeah. It's like a real process. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like and we turned Savannah, like that whole sequence in Cannes. We turned all of downtown Savannah into Cannes, which is pretty wild. Like, it's a monumental effort to get, not only to make it historically accurate, but also the amount of people that have to come to play in order to make it all happen is just wild. So it was pretty surreal to go, like, a book that I just ended up reading, being like, I think this is a movie, and then standing in front of an aircraft carrier that's built to scale in the middle of Savannah is like pretty wild. You're like, wow, okay, it's pretty cool to go from an imagined dream to an actual thing.
Pretty insane. It must be incredibly rewarding for the movie to be, coming out and for everybody to see it. And like Fran said, for people to talk about the story in which maybe they wouldn't have thought anything about this before. I want to ask if you were expecting any of the outcome that came from Top Gun in terms of like the clips that just kept going insanely viral all over the place and people becoming obsessed with your characters. And then, of course, you get the Halloween costumes. Like, what was the feeling?
The mustache is back.
Right, the mustache coming back. What was the feeling seeing everyone's reaction? Because, of course, you're doing Top Gun. You know that Top Gun is so famous in itself, but you don't know what the reaction is going to be to it coming back.
Like, I just went to a University of Texas football game on Saturday, and I was down on the field. And so it's pretty wild when people are like, oh, Hangman, like that it's been cool to kind of like see all that stuff. One of my favorite interactions was this girl came up to me. She's like, oh my God, I literally made a TikTok saying this is my future husband. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. She shows me this TikTok of like me on the screen. I was like, oh, that's awesome. And I was like, do you want a picture? She's like, yeah, sure. And she goes, sorry, what's your name again? And I was like, Glenn. And I was like, Glenn. And she goes, that's right, Glen Eastwood. And I was
that's incredible.
It was a very, very funny moment. But that's the other thing is like, you're doing your job if the character is bigger than the actor in any given way. So, but it's been amazing. And Miles and I have like jokingly sent each other a lot of like funny homoerotic memes about Bruce and just it's been a wild ride. It's definitely changed my life. I mean, when a movie that you get to be one of the leads of, makes $1 billion and then some change, it definitely doesn't hurt. It's been good. But nothing bad on any front. Like, it's been all fun for the most part. I'm just enjoying the ride.
What is your, this might be a silly question, but what is your status like with being like a actual pilot? Like, could you become an actual pilot? Like what now I feel like you've done so much. Could you fly your own planes? Do you fly your own planes?
I do fly my own planes.
That's what I thought.
I'm a pilot, so I've been flying around quite a bit.
Were you pilot before these movies or after?
No, so after Top Gun, Cruise gave us for Christmas pilot license if we wanted it. So I took the ground school and legal? I started taking them up on it. Was it?
I said, is that legal? Here's your pilot license.
Oh, no, he didn't just say, hey, get in the plane. You have to train. Yes. I actually feel better about the people that are in the air going through that process. Like, you really have to know what you're doing to fly a plane. They don't just hand you the keys. Although I did feel like my first solo flight was a little preliminary. I was like, I haven't really been flying that much. So Cruise for a Christmas present gave us all that. So I got my license because of him. And so I've been flying myself around quite a bit. I just got back from a movie, so I didn't get a chance to film or fly while I was down there. So I'm about to, as soon as I finish this Devotion press tour, I'm going to be back up there flying myself around over Christmas.
You're hitting the skies.
What's the furthest distance you've gone? What's the furthest distance you're allowed to go?
Texas. Flown to Texas from California. Go back and forth between Texas and LA quite a bit. I'm allowed. I can fly. I just can't fly out of the continental U.S.
Okay.
I have to get a different rating for that. But I can fly. If you guys want to fly around, let me know. I don't particularly like flying in. I don't want to fly into LaGuardia, but we'll figure it out.
That's incredible.
Yeah. We're not that far from Teterboro, so we'll find you there. That's probably more our spot. Because we also don't like flying out of LaGuardia.
A little 5-minute trip around the city. We could see the skyline.
Yeah, let's do that. That'll be a lot easier.
Yeah. Perfect. That sounds amazing. You said you just finished wrapping a movie. You did Hitman, right? That's Richard Linklater, which is incredible. What iconic director. How did that go?
It's so fun. I mean, Rick and I, again, we've known each other since I was like 14 years old. So in this movie, we wrote together and produced together, and I play like 12 different characters in this movie. So actually, Jonathan Majors, who's playing Kang in all the Avengers movies, he has to play like an infinite amount of characters.
Yes.
We were actually talking shop on how to actually conceivably play all these different characters. So Majors and I continue to be wingmen and collaborators even after this, but. And now I know all the Marvel secrets. He broke every NDA.
Yeah. So you really have your hands on things behind the scenes more with producing and writing. Do you think you want to stay in that area as well as actually acting in the films as well?
I think like looking at the people that I really like admire in this business, like people that have managed to keep their hand on the wheel, or at least like even looking at Cruise, looking at Matt Damon, Brad Pitt's got a great
I love that he's just Cruise. The way you
Cruise.
say it is so cool.
So casual.
Like it's just like, he's just my good pal Cruise.
Cruise. But it's like all these guys, even Margot Robbie, right? Like you look at these people that they're producing and making their own stuff. There's something that I've always just admired about that, where it's like, Costner told me this on Hidden Figures. He was like, the movies you make are your epitaph. Like after you're dead, after it's all said and done, the only thing that, is going to outlive you are the things that you make, and people will continue watching those. And I was like, there's something kind of wonderful to just going, hey, while you have a chance to make all the things you want to make, like you might as well, have your hand on the wheel and put those things out there instead of just being a gun for hire. I like being a gun for hire. There's a lot of great stuff coming up that's in that category too. But it's really nice. It's like there's a different satisfaction, like again, finding the book for Devotion and now seeing it in theaters on Thanksgiving. Like that's a really satisfying feeling to kind of see something from start to finish.
Right. And why not do both if you can?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I love making movies. So I always just kind of had the mentality of like, I don't like the feeling of having my hand out asking for a job. Like, I feel like there's this desperation in Hollywood where everybody's like kind of like the actors like always just seemed really desperate to me. I don't know. I didn't like that. You know what I mean? Like, just
like put me in anything.
That. I don't like that. I don't like asking for shit. What'd you say?
Like I said, put me in anything. Like that's like me. I'm like, put me in literally anything.
Give me any role. I will take anything.
Yeah. But there's something about that that feeling of desperation in Hollywood that I just never thought was cool. I didn't like that, and I just always thought, hey, instead of like asking for a job, why don't I provide other people with jobs and like make stuff I actually want to make and try to be the pace setter than rather following somebody else. So
right, and providing a job for yourself at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, I don't like to be unemployed. It's not my favorite thing.
No.
Especially in LA. There's nothing lower than being unemployed in LA. People forget about you so quickly.
But I also think a lot of people in LA are like unemployed.
Well, they'll take what they can get. Yeah. We just had we had Zoe Deutsch in here recently. She's amazing. Like she left and Maria and I were like, that's the coolest girl we ever met. And I think everybody was hoping you guys were going to reconnect for another movie. Is that something that is going to happen?
We're still trying to figure it out. I think what happened is there was a lot of change and upheaval at the place we were making that movie. Okay. So Zoe and I are still very committed to getting back on set together, especially in a rom-com.
Yeah.
We talk about it all the time. I don't think it's going to be with that one necessarily.
Okay.
But we're trying to figure it out. I know we're actively, I love Zoe so much. Like we had the best time making that movie, and she's so damn talented. She literally is the coolest girl.
Yeah,
like,
so fun.
We not to continue to just be creepy, but we were like, she was like the coolest ever. We were like, that was, and in studio we were like, well, that was awesome. But yes, okay, hopeful that happens because you guys have amazing rom-com chemistry. You have like that Matthew McConaughey, Kate Hudson situation where it's like everybody wants them to make those rom-coms. And I know he's also a Texas guy. So I think that the chemistry is definitely there. So we'll hope that happens.
I actually, I just did College Game Day.
Yeah.
And when Texas was playing Bama, and I called McConaughey before, I just texted him and was like, hey man, I'm about to do College Game Day, any tips? And we talked for like an hour. It was like one of the most Hollywood moments of my life where I was flying from Toronto for Devotion stuff, went to New York for a GQ shoot, and I was on my way to College Game Day, and McConaughey, I literally have the GQ people waiting while McConaughey is like, I was like, this is the coolest moment of my whole life. But yeah, I would love to do a movie with Matthew. That would be pretty sweet.
That would be awesome.
Matthew and Zoe. Maybe we'll figure that out.
What's one piece of advice that he gave you?
McConaughey?
Yeah.
He told me to get he's like, stay in Austin. Don't plant your roots in LA. He's like, LA, he's like, here's the deal, man. He's like, LA is the Matrix, man. He's like, he was like, that's fake. That's fake area. He's like, you gotta have fun there, but then you unplug in Austin, Texas. That's real life, So that's I'll probably stay in Austin for as long as I possibly can, so I don't go crazy. Because the thing that in you can go crazy in LA, just like how we were talking about being unemployed in LA.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you have a couple failures, as soon as there's no juice in the engine, and as soon as you're not in the cool club, it happens to everybody at one point. The same people that invite you to Christmas don't call you back, and you got to remember, that's why you got to keep your real friends close, your family close, all that stuff. It's, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint, and you got to just know who's actually in your corner.
Yep,
definitely.
And McConaughey just plays the game. He's so zen about everything.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, that was spot on.
I know that was phenomenal. It's like we had him on the interview, but so you'll keep your Austin roots, but we have to wrap it up. Glenn, thank you so much for joining us. Guys, go see Devotion in theaters on the 23rd. It's a great, have your Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Have your leftovers, head to the movie theater after.
A Thanksgiving weekend movie theater trip.
That Friday, your schedule is open.
Yeah, we know it is.
Go see Devotion.
You're the best. And congrats on everything. Just so proud of you guys and a huge fan of you guys and continue to be.
Thank you so much.
Hopefully congrats to you as well.
Hopefully we catch you in New York next time. We'll take the plane.
We'll hop on the plane real quick.
That'd be really fun.
Actually. It would. All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.